Now, this is just getting ridiculous. The Democrats, once again, have been exposed in another dangerous, horrific, propagandizing lie. I don't know if you've been hearing about it, but the Trump administration struck some drug boats from Venezuela a few months ago. And there was all these reports that Pete Hegseth said, kill everybody on the, it was his orders to his generals. Democrats have been threatening them to investigate him. People want to brought up on war crime charges and all of this hoopla just to find out that it was a bold-faced lie. Now, in this video, you're going to hear Pete Hegseth rip the media right to their faces, and he's going to tell it like it is. You also going to hear some details about the strike and about Venezuela and why our focus is so hard on Venezuela. And you have to ask yourself, why is it that the Democrats always seem to be on the side of everybody who's against America? And one Democrat Congress member is exposed. Text messages were leaked showing just how fake they are. In private, they keep it real, but in public, they put propaganda. But this guy has been exposed, and I'm sure the backlash from within that party is happening already, and he's probably going to be primary. And when you hear and see who it is, I just like this guy already. So good riddance to bad rubbish. We also going to find out the reason why the Trump administration has been catering heavily to new media. And I think we all know why, because what the lamestream, aka legacy media, I can't even stand to have that name, has been doing is dangerous and putting people's lives at risk, especially our soldiers. So I'm going to start with this first clip from Fox News that's going to talk about the Hegseth, strike. So check this out.
Trump administration says it did not break any laws after carrying out an airstrike on a boat 3 months ago today. The strike was notable, though, because it was multiple shots that were fired by the military, killing 2 people who appeared to have survived the first strike. And now Democrats say they need to know if war crimes were committed.
The question in front of us, and I believe there will be bipartisan investigations in both the House and in the Senate, in order to determine whether war crimes were committed and either U.S. law or international law, or both, were violated.
The White House is denying that any international law was broken. They're also saying that Secretary Hegseth did not give that second order to kill those people that survived that strike. They instead, it was an admiral who carried out that attack. We'll be interested to see if Secretary Hegseth had anything to say with it. Bill, as you know, he's usually seated right next to the president. And the Trump administration says...
So now, as you heard now, isn't it funny how Hakeem Jeffries and the Democrats love to want to immediately investigate something Republican side? They're not rushing to investigate what's going on in Minnesota. They're not even speaking about it. They're not rushing to get out there in California to investigate Gavin Newsom. They're not even speaking about it. What about out there in Maryland, where they also have like a $1.8 billion budget out there in Maryland with Governor Wes Moore, another Democrat-ran blue state? They're not going out there investigating, or Chicago, where all of the crime and everything was. But when it comes to Hegseth, who's the Secretary of War, who is handling his business, protecting the country from illegal narcotics coming on our shores, this is who they want to attack. This is why we have to make sure that we get out in the midterms. In that Tennessee midterm, that was too close. He only won by 10 points. Now, check this out right here. This is the New York Times. The New York Times exposed the Washington Post, because the Washington Post is who put out the initial article saying that Hegseth, and they always say these anonymous sources. And you know who the anonymous source is? The freaking journalists themselves. They pay attention. Whenever you hear these stories like, well, anonymous sources say that Trump, anonymous sources said that Hegseth, man, that anonymous source is them just making something up as a journalist, knowing that they can hide behind the whole, anonymous sources. That's what they hide behind. And so we're not going to let them do that anymore. So let's check this article out, a little bit of it. Then I'm going to let you hear how Pete ripped them up. So Pete Hegseth didn't order the unaliving of survivors on September boat strike, according to the new report. In that first clip we saw, Trump posted the actual strike on his Truth Social from September the 2nd. War Secretary, let me see if I can increase this some so you can see it better. All right, War Secretary Pete Hegseth ordered the deadly September 2nd military strike on a suspected drug-running vessel in the Caribbean Sea, but did not direct the unaliving of any survivors of the initial attack, according to a new report. The New York Times, citing 5 U.S. officials, reported Tuesday that Hegseth's initial order to destroy the boat, its alleged drug cargo, and anyone on board did not specify what should happen if survivors remain. Adam Frank Bradley, the head of U.S. Special Operations Command, ultimately signed off on both the initial strike and several follow-up strikes that took the lives of 11 people. The Washington Post reported Friday that the subsequent strike, which targeted 2 survivors of the initial hit, was in direct response to Hegseth's order to unalive everybody on board the vessel. The Times sources insisted that Hegseth did not give Bradley any orders at all during the operation and was not aware in real time that passengers were clinging to the wreckage. President Trump and Secretary Hegseth have made it clear that presidentially designated narco-terrorist groups are subject to lethal targeting in accordance with the laws of war. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt told reporters on Monday, with respect to the strikes in question on September 2nd, Secretary Hegseth authorized Adam Bradley to conduct these kinetic strikes. Bradley, Leavitt added, worked well within his authority and the law directing the engagement to ensure the boat was destroyed and the threat to the United States of America was eliminated. Pete said he did not order the unalive of those 2 men. President Trump told reporters Sunday night aboard Air Force One as he returned to Washington from his Mar-a-Lago resort in Palm Beach, Florida. And I believe him. The GOP-led House and Senate Armed Services Committee have begun investigation into the September 2nd strike, which some lawmakers have suggested could be a war crime if the execution of survivors was ordered. So let's listen to Secretary of War Hegseth as he really tears into him about what's going on. Check this out. If you're enjoying this video, do me a solid, hit that thumbs up, because I will never ask you for a cash app, a super chat, or a donation. You hitting that like button and hitting that hype button really does help the channel. And if you aren't subscribed to the channel, subscribe. And once you do, to make sure that YouTube sends you the notification when I upload videos, make sure that you hit the notification bell and select all. When you select all, YouTube will make sure that you get notified when I upload new videos.
I wish everybody could be in the room watching our professionals like Mitch Bradley, Admiral Mitch Bradley, and others at JSOC and SOCOM and other commanders. The deliberative process, the detail, the rigorous, the intel, the legal, the evidence-based way that we're able to, with sources and methods that we can't reveal here, that make sure that every one of those drug boats is tied to a designated terrorist organization. We know who's on it, what they're doing, what they're carrying. All these white bales are not Christmas gifts from Santa. This is drugs running on 4-motor fast boats or submarines that we've also struck. No one's fishing on a submarine. And I have empowered them to make that call. Now, the first couple of strikes, as any leader would want, you want to own that responsibility. So I said, I'm going to be the one to make the call after getting all the information and make sure it's the right strike. That was September 2nd. There's a lot of intelligence that goes into that, building that case and understanding that, a lot of people providing information. I watched that first strike live. As you can imagine, at the Department of War, we got a lot of things to do. So I didn't stick around for the hour and 2 hours, whatever, where all the sensitive site exploitation digitally occurs. So I moved on to my next meeting. A couple of hours later, I learned that commander had made which he had the complete authority to do. And by the way, Admiral Bradley made the correct decision to ultimately sink the boat and eliminate the threat. He sunk the boat, and eliminated the threat. And it was the right call. We have his back, and the American people are safer because narco-terrorists know you can't bring drugs through the water and eventually on land if necessary to the American people. We will eliminate that threat, and we're proud to do it.
So you didn't see any survivors, to be clear, after that first strike? You personally?
I did not personally see survivors, but I stand, because the thing was on fire. It was exploded and fire and smoke. You can't see anything. You got digital. This is called the fog of war. This is what you in the press don't understand. You sit in your air-conditioned offices or up on Capitol Hill and you nitpick and you plant fake stories in the Washington Post about kill everybody, phrases on anonymous sources not based in anything, not based in any truth at all. And then you want to throw out really irresponsible terms about American heroes, about the judgment that they made. I wrote a whole book on this topic because of what politicians and the press does to warfighters. President Trump has empowered commanders to do what is necessary, which is dark and difficult things in the dead of night on behalf of the American people. We support them, and we will stop the poisoning of the American.
Straight to the point. And again, the Democrats had no problem while fentanyl was flowing all through the country through the Biden years. You didn't see them doing anything, attacking anything. But yet we got an administration that's actually working to protect our children, protect our people, and they're fighting against them, not against the Mexican cartels. Matter of fact, allegedly, they're working with the cartels as they're smuggling children in and out, women in and out. This is insane. These demon rats, they really have to go. Now, speaking of the demon rats, here we go, where we're going to hear about the new media aspect of what's going on, because this came from the Washington Post. And this is exactly why the Trump administration has been the first administration to allow new media, podcasters, to come into the media room to hear what's going on, to be able to report the truth. These lamestream media leftists, they come out and they spin almost everything. Why? Because everybody's trying to get that Pulitzer Prize. Everybody's trying to get to the desk on CNN or MSDNC and stop beating their feet on the street. And so they do it because they know Trump derangement to the left is like gold. So the crazier and the most deranged the story is, the more that they like it. It's like the Russia hoax. Do you know how many of them got prizes and awards over a fake story that they knew was fake? Or what about the New York Times reporter who allegedly was working hand in hand with Epstein to put together a plot to be able to frame President Trump? And this person puts out articles and the Democrats put him on TV and say, oh, you know, respected journalist. No, he's a propagandist. Right now is the open enrollment period for healthcare, which is why I want to take a moment to give a shout out to the sponsor of this video and partner of the channel, Chapter. Chapter is helping seniors right now who are confused. Some are just new to having to get Medicare. Others who already have Medicare but want to make sure they got the best Medicare plans available. I highly encourage you to reach out to Chapter. Chapter has highly skilled, unbiased agents that are helping seniors make sure that they've got the best Medicare plans available, because it sucks to find out your prescriptions are no longer covered and your doctor is no longer in network on the plan you currently have. The phone call is absolutely free and it could go as quick as 20 minutes. In less than 20 minutes, you can find out to make sure you got the best Medicare plan available. And the great news about it is that Chapter has been helping seniors save as much as $1,100 a year, making sure they have the best Medicare plan. So I'm sure you can find something to do with an extra $1,100 in your pocket. So don't waste time. It's extremely important to protect yourself and protect your health. So give Chapter a call or follow the website at askchapter.org/realpolitics and make sure you've got the best Medicare plans available. That's spewing negative stories, and Jeffrey Epstein was like his bestie, allegedly, from the foul drop. He was confided with Jeffrey to get orders on what to do next. Working with a PDF file to attack the sitting president. And you know what they say, birds of a feather do what together? But listen to this as far as with the new media and what's going on. And then I'm going to follow this up with you hearing about the Democrat congressman who threw his own party under the bus. Check this out.
Look, the media, by most standards, is liberal, okay? We get that. We know what we're dealing with. I had to deal with it when I was in the media, local media in Kansas City. But we also have to remember that they have a job to do. And this is a symbiotic relationship. There are a lot of people up here in Congress who don't want to talk to the media, who think that they're out to get them in every move. I'm very cautious of the media. I know how the game is played. But the knives are out for Pete Hegseth at the Pentagon, number one. The knives are out for the president when it comes to the media. We saw the same type of squawking when Caroline Leavitt let the new media into the White House briefing room. The old media didn't want them there because they were going to get asked different questions and come up with different reportage than the legacy media has done for so long. We need these new voices. The Republican Study Committee today, in fact, just down the hall from me here at the Cannon Office Building, is holding another new media forum. We're inviting the members of the new media, podcasters, some radio shows, and others who don't necessarily see things the way that the old standard liberal woke media sees things. And we're going to get our message out. And that's what's happening at the Pentagon. The reporters there did not like the new rules that you can't go roaming around the halls of the Pentagon just willy-nilly. I've been over the Pentagon 2 times. I'm a sitting member of Congress. Even with this pin on, I cannot go wander the halls of the Pentagon. Tough luck that you can't go wandering the halls. Do your job, report the facts, and stay neutral.
See, so these left-wing radicals are pissed off because the Trump administration said, listen, you're not going to talk crap about us and then think you're going to roam the building looking for something to write some BS story on or make something up. You would have to be a fool to do that. That's like knowing that somebody that's out making up lies about you, spreading rumors about you, and then you invite them over and into your house and into your bedroom where they can really see what's going on in your house, just for them to go right back out and make up even more stuff with more detail that seems more believable. No. You're not even coming to my house. Matter of fact, I better not even see you on my driveway, in my driveway, or on my front lawn. So that's how the Trump administration is playing it. And whatever this rule is where you kind of have to let the press in, I get it. But because remember early on, Trump was banning certain networks like, nope, you can't come. And now the way they control it is he can choose who he wants to choose. If one of those fake news networks wants to ask some BS aggressive question, they get shut down like the reporter did last week where he said, you know what? You're a terrible person. You could ask me the question, but you don't have to be so nasty. The Washington Post got you all hyped up and wound up. And he was right. Now, check out this one about the Democrat congressman who threw his own party under the bus after talking crap about Pete. Check this out.
We have some text messages that came my way. Now, this isn't involving one of the seditious six, but it is someone who's been defending the seditious six. And in fact, it is text messages that were leaked to me from a source directly associated with Senator Ruben Gallego, a Democrat from Arizona, himself a Marine Corps corporal. And in these text messages, which you can see directly from him, Ruben G up there at the top, he's trashing the Democrat Party. He's going against his party. He's talking about how much the Democrat Party is awful. This is the same guy, by the way, who spent the entire week going on TV saying that Pete Hegseth is a coward, saying that we shouldn't investigate Mark Kelly for these statements. So he'll say that in public, and he'll go after Hegseth. But then in private, what's he doing? He's trashing his own party, and he's admitting how bad they make everybody look. And I think we sent the text messages over, and if you guys want to show them up, we can put them up there because these are the messages. And look, you know, this is what it just goes to show you that they are liars. They are two-faced. They will never admit that in public, which they believe in private. These are Democrats. And you saw I pressed Mondami on the exact same thing when he was up there trying to play that little two-step game in the Oval Office, pretending always Mr. Nice. And what did Mondami do when he goes back to New York? He hired the professor that wrote The End of Policing. Steve, Ruben Gallego, Mondami, Mark Kelly, they're all cut from the same cloth. Their loyalty is to their own personal brands. Their loyalty is to themselves. You can never believe the things that they say.
Did you see the text messages? I'm gonna pull it back just so we can see it. Check these out. Were you able to read them? Because I was, and it was hilarious. And what he was saying in it, I agreed. This one says, let me do it.
He's admitting how bad.
It says, if erectile dysfunction had a face, and it's got that one congresswoman from California. I believe she's out of California. This is how the world views many of them. They aren't wrong. Talking about Democrats. My point exactly. You have gained the strength and the wisdom. Seems like it's time for you to flex and battle your way to the top of that party. I could become your Republican consultant. He must be talking to a Republican. They aren't wrong. Oh, that's the same thing. We look like the not fun party, always telling and correcting people, not allowing men to be men. I believe is what they say. Women to be hot. We used to be the party of sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Exactly. I'm going to crack up when I go to the Capitol Hill Club next time I'm in DC and you're there hanging out just so you can hang out with the hot, beautiful people. Now, Democrat women look like Democrat men and Democrat men look like Democrat women. You see? Now, this is Ruben Gallegos. He knows what's going on, but will jump in front of that camera and talk crap about Trump and say how great the party values are and blah, blah, blah. This is why the lamestream media is working so hard to spin the lies. It's kind of like them telling people like, oh, that win in Tennessee that just happened. They like, oh, if it's not a blowout win, oh, that's a down thing for Republicans. But yet, during the Mamdani races, in those races, Mamdani didn't win by a blowout margin. You know, in New Jersey, that wasn't a super blowout in that deep blue area. But they took that as a W. But on the Republicans, if we don't win by 15 or 20, oh, the momentum's changing. And I think everybody forgets. Elections always look different over the last 8 or 9 years when Trump isn't on the ballot. And by this not being the actual midterms, I believe there's a whole lot of people that are geared up ready for the midterms. These are special elections, and they are not promoted at all, if you notice. They are to the political circles, but they're not promoted heavily out loud. Why? Because they don't want people turning out. They know these are extremely important races for congressional seats, for judges, and if the people came out in droves, the Republicans would dominate. But I just wanted to bring you this to let you know, if you've been concerned, if our Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, committed a war crime, or if he somehow violated international law, U.S. law, he didn't, or if he sent orders to take the lives of someone who was alive. And you know what? He made a good point. When they do a strike on a boat and it's coming from a flying craft and there's fire and smoke everywhere, how in the world are the Democrats able to say there was some survivor clinging on to the side of the boat? How would they even know? How would they know that? Especially on the Hills. Now we know that the Washington Post lied about the orders being given anyway. Where would they stop? If they would lie about the Russia hoax, they would lie about Trump being best friends with Epstein and doing what they being a PDF file. They lied about that. They lied about the whole mortgage thing out of Mar-a-Lago in Florida. And he frauded this. They lied, and they lied with impunity and with immunity. And then when they're exposed, they like to flip it up. So now you got all of these people out there thinking Secretary Hegseth did something. And yeah, there's articles out correcting it. There's videos, but the media aren't going to take to the waves like they did when they were accusing him. You seen Hakeem Adreem Jeffries, a.k.a. Timo Obama, talking about, oh, we're going to investigate. We're going to investigate. That's all they want to do is tie things up, stop the American First movement, and swing back in these leftist ideologies that destroyed the country on behalf of their master, George Soros. On behalf of their master, the Islamic people. They're greasing these people's palms like never before. And you just can't understand it. But I'm glad to know our Secretary of War is straight up and down. And the real good thing is our president stood by him. Loyalty is real deal when it comes to President Trump. And he's loyal to the soil when it comes to America and to the American people. So if you stayed and you watched this video, I want to thank you from the top and bottom of my heart. And I want to give a shout out to my friend Yanni. She watches the videos to the end and she lets me know. And there's several others. James Tony, there's Tooney, there's some other ones. And I apologize for not getting all the names. Yaba Blab, watch it, and Tracy Jacobs. And I mean, there's a number of people that I could name. And I truly do apologize. I'm trying to fit them in as I go. But thank you so much for watching the videos. If you haven't already, hit the like button. And if you aren't subscribed, subscribe. More than anything else, make sure that you stay safe and that you be great. I'm Brian Maxwell saying I look forward to seeing you at the top. Over and out, y'all.